Hey everybody, as promised, this is Izzy here coming to you live from his bedroom with my review for Aquaman. I happened to catch Aquaman last night at the 9:30 show and it was pretty packed actually. And I have to say, despite the more or less mixed reviews, I absolutely enjoyed this film. It was about what you'd expect. Now, with that said, as everybody knows, this is the sixth film in the DCEU extended universe that DC or WB has been trying to establish since 2013 with their Man of Steel debut. And unfortunately, it hasn't worked out the way that they had originally anticipated. All that is more or less explained by yours truly in my other videos on YouTube. With that said, I was first introduced to Aquaman by my dad, who is one of the biggest fans that you can imagine when it comes to that particular character. And I was pretty hesitant on when I saw that Jason Momoa was casted as a character. I had only seen him via Game of Thrones and never really saw much acting from him, except in terms of being intimidating and being a badass on top of that. Needless to say, and also Aquaman had more or less been kind of considered a joke within popular culture. And a lot of fans and critics just looked at him and felt, okay, well, hey, he's not that interesting of a character when you compare him to Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, or even Martian Manhunter. Aquaman was probably one of my favorite DC films, and it shows that DC has attempted to go into the right direction as far as the previous mishaps with their other films. And I absolutely found it to be very, very refreshing. It was a breath of fresh air, and as someone who has seen a lot of films, I had never seen a film that was more or less kind of a Star Wars, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok in an underwater setting. That is literally the best description I could give you, and it's not necessarily a slight on that. It's just when I ask people about the film, they will say, well, just think underwater Thor or underwater Black Panther. And unfortunately that the comparisons with Marvel is always going to come up just because of how DC attempted to compete with Marvel. But overall, I was very, very impressed with the special effects and the performances and the action. I mean, the action was just magnificent. I had never seen a film where it was just so colorful, and the actors, obviously the actors weren't communicating with each other underwater, but with the visual effects, how they were able to make it seem like the actors were underwater and conversing with one another was just magnificent as well. And then I have to admit, there was quite a few scenes where I found myself choking up and getting goosebumps just because it literally felt like it was a superhero film. And it has moments where the previous DCEU films had been missing those moments where the hero is actually performing miraculous feats and doing inspirational things. As I said in my review, my written review actually, that I will be posting on Facebook. The link is on my channel, by the way. As I said in my written review and even in my previous videos regarding the DCEU, Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman has always been missing that component in terms of having the hero perform heroic things. And Aquaman and Wonder Woman actually has those elements where the hero is doing everything that they possibly can in order to ensure that whatever destruction is going on, that no one else is being harmed. And Aquaman, with the action, especially when he's fighting the Black Manta, I'm not going to go into any type of detail spoilers, but it's just one of those films where the action was so refreshing that you literally felt as though that you were in the moment. And the way James Wan filmed the action was just, it's simply too amazing for words, and it's hard for me to really describe exactly what I was feeling just because I had never seen a film done like that before. Seriously, I thought Avatar, which was directed by James Cameron, was probably, and this is just my opinion, again, not trying to persuade anybody, but I thought Avatar was one of the greatest technological and cinematic achievements, but Aquaman just blows Avatar out the water, in my opinion. Literally, figure of speech there. But it is what you'd expect. It's simply fun, adventurous. There's a lot of emotion. There's quite a few emotional moments in the film that was very surprising to me, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I found myself tearing up, especially when he emerges from the waterfall in the classic Aquaman suit, and that was just wow. Just, and I think the word of mouth is going to propel this film into a much more successful category. I've seen a lot of people who have come to see this film. As someone who works at a movie theater, I have seen people who came back for repeat viewings, and sometimes the repeat viewings have been 2 or 3 times. I mean, that's simply how good this film is, and I will definitely be one of those repeat viewers. But needless to say, there are some flaws, though. There are some flaws. I feel that as though that they attempted, for the mishaps that DC, WB have had in the past, it was almost as if they attempted to overcorrect too much. And again, it's not a major flaw for me personally. For example, I didn't really care for how they used the Black Manta. I felt Black Manta could have been used for a sequel. But because Black Manta for me has always been one of the coolest looking villains in comic book history. I don't care what anybody says. He's just badass on top of that. He's just really cool, intelligent, brutal, vicious, intense, and he was really more or less the same way in the film. But the good thing about it is they can still bring him back, but I just would have preferred if they just had him for his own sequel, for Aquaman's own sequel, to say the least. And again, there was a bit of inconsistencies with the tone. Like, for example, there'd be one instance where you have Aquaman brooding and not really sure of his destiny. Then the next scene is him being joking and spouting one-liners off. So, I mean, again, it's not a bad thing because, you know, it didn't really hinder the film in any fashion. But overall, I was very, very content and impressed with how they were able to do the film and do it in a way that would be satisfactory for everybody. Now, I mean, not everybody loved it, obviously, but again, if a film could keep me engaged and entertained throughout the whole 2-hour, 30-minute process and not feel bored whatsoever, it's done its job. Aquaman for me is a 5 out of 5. It is exciting, adventurous, beautiful visuals, especially when you finally get to see Atlantis on the big screen. Man, that was probably one of the most beautiful sequences I had ever seen in the film. And this, to me, I thought Wakanda was breathtaking. How they did Atlantis was just stupendous. I can't put into words just how amazingly it was done. 5 out of 5 from yours truly. And be sure to check out my written reviews on my Facebook with the link provided on my channel description. And the next review will most likely be Bumblebee, and I will post that most likely either Sunday or Tuesday when I have some time. Hope everybody has a great day and a safe New Year's, and I'll be looking to hear from you soon.